Well, look at that. It says we're live. We got to be live this time because, by God, I am really in a mood to rant. So here we go. Rant, 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 rant. Okay, I'm done ranting. Let's get going. What I want to rant about is, well, it's something I've written about for years, but it keeps surfacing and it bothers me. And those are the Chinese black jails. I got to clarify, a black jail is a place where China tosses their unwanted, they're disabled, they're too old, they're too ill. They toss them in these holes to make money until they die. Now, the New York Post had an article, some way back, I've got a link in the text here, about the slave-like conditions in iPhone factories in China. Well, the whole situation's a lot worse than you might think, okay? For the Post's account, again, you can click on that link. It's in the text here. But let's go on. The unspoken tragedy of the Chinese workforce. It's the preponderance of black jails. They're used heavily by foreign firms that sell high-end goods to us for the assembly and finishing of their products. And they do it for pennies a day, guys. Understand, now I spent over 15 years in China. And I've witnessed the horror of these slave labor camps, these black jails. Being a visitor and having a little bit of prestige, I was able to go places that many people don't go unless they go and don't come back. The conditions spoken of by the Post, they're well presented, but they pale in comparison to the real horror of the black jails of China. You know, there's so much more I can tell you. But it's easier if you want to read the book. Right, the book is called Eyes on China by Max Allen, available from Amazon.com. But let me begin this rant today by saying that black jails are illegal in China. However, since corruption is king, they continue to operate all over the country, making rich people richer and poor purple people dead. Jeez, I can't even speak. I'm so pissed. Poor purple people pissed. Anyway, after witnessing and even sneaking into a black jail, I began to gather a little information on them, and I learned a great deal about the oppression and exploitation. This is insane, and it's all in service to the West. So where do they get their workers for these black jails? Children born with deformities, disabilities, perhaps mentally retarded. These children are sold to the black jails. Understand, in China, when a child is disfigured, deformed, or a parent is absolutely you're just so old they can barely even sit up in a chair, they are ashamed to the family. No, they don't honor these people. They keep them hidden in the house. And after it becomes just too difficult to keep them up, they sell them off. Let me tell you an example. Her real name is Lin Hua, the mother of a 7-year-old daughter, Wang Hui, who was born with only one arm. Well, mom was at the end of her rope. She had the kid in her house there for, like 7 years, and people were wanting to know why she wasn't in school. Well, she wouldn't dare put her in school because people see she had a defective child. They'd say, oh my God, what shameful thing. The kid was too old to be euthanized. Yeah, euthanized in China up to the age of 4. If the child's too much of a burden on you, they can and will, for a small fee, kill the child and write it up as crib death. Fact. Well, this kid was getting hard to keep. She couldn't send her to school. So you know what she did? She sold her daughter to a black jail for 5,000 yuan. That's about 700 US dollars. And it was supposed to be this girl would never be seen again. Another slave disappearing in the black holes of China's black jails. But by absolute chance, I found this girl in a black jail located in the basement of an abandoned steam plant in the nearby industrial city of Liaohua. This is the black jail that I managed to sneak into. And it wasn't just a basement. There were catacombs. I mean, my God, this is like something out of a movie. You know, these places where everybody hides from nuclear holocaust. There are catacombs and rooms and noises. I witnessed children as young as 5 or 6. It's kind of hard to tell the age. And folks in their senior years in wheelchairs at workstations. And I don't just mean workstations, okay? The heat was unbearable. It was easily 100 degrees. There was smoke, aluminum dust, stink, plastics just all through the air. Small children worked at buffing wheels. They had no eye protection, no face masks. They didn't even have gloves, okay? I saw a little boy, maybe 10 or 11, working on a polishing wheel. His hands were bleeding. He was coughing and wheezing at the wheel. You understand? He was one of the dozens working at a feverish pace demanded by their slave masters. There was a big fat guy, no neck, half Mongolian, walking around. He was hot and sweaty and wearing a really nice double canister face mask, a filter, and he had goggles. Well, good for him. And he walked along the stations, tapping kids with a stick, pushing old people, demanding they pick up the pace, as they polished and finished phone cases for an American mobile phone manufacturer. These, let's just call them iTelephones, were being made for pennies on the dollar, with this free slave labor. It sucks. Understand, black jails in China assemble medical equipment, cell phones, electronic goods, tennis shoes, sportswear, even food processors, and it costs them about 11 cents an hour to keep these workers at their stations 12 hours a day. Okay, 11 cents an hour, 12 hours a day. That's cool. They charge their famous brand firms in the West $1 an hour. Yeah, baby, you're talking what? 88 cents profit? You get thousands of these little poor, unfortunate little bastards down in the basements all over the country. Come on. I watched 2 kids working on sneakers for a major seller, and let me tell you what. It'll be a cold day in hell before I wear that swoosh brand of tennis shoe ever again. It'll also be an even colder day in hell before I own a computer or a telephone with the little logo of a piece of fruit on the front. Now, I could say a lot more, and there's a whole lot more to be said. But you know enough now to understand that the unspeakable cruelty of slavery and human rights abuse takes place in China all the time. China can say they've eliminated, they can say they've outlawed it, but corruption is king, baby. The New York Post has a compelling article. It's well worth reading. And if you want to go into more detail, again, go to Amazon.com and look up Eyes on China by Max Allen. This is not an ad. This is telling you that's if you want to know more about it. Plain and damn simple. I'm Max, and yes, I'm done ranting. It's enough to just break you down. That's all.